Playinground by Susan Hutchins. Chapter 1. Even at this hour of the morning you can feel the heat, can almost see it rising from the tarmac. In the past few weeks the grass that surrounds the playground has become like straw. Already the big beech tree is starting to lose its leaves. It's hard to believe August is still a week away. When the city woke to a bright blue sky 5 weeks ago, everyone took advantage of the weather. They put on last summer's flares and hot pants, went shopping for the latest in gypsy skirts and see-through blouses. Everyone thought it wouldn't last long, that the heatwave would be interrupted by a cloud or two sooner or later. They expected to change the brightly coloured clothes for a raincoat or at least a cardigan before the week was out. But flaming June has become sweltering July. From sunrise to sunset the sun sent out its rays. Bless the children with tans that made their white cotton socks gleam against their brown legs. It kissed the women's cheeks, brought out the blonde and copper highlights in their hair, and a riot of colour and bronze flesh into the playground. Unless you knew the mothers and children that are gathering around the school door, you'd be hard-pressed to guess who had vol au vents or beef olives for supper, who dined on beans and chips, who lives in a few rooms, who enjoys the luxury of a Georgian house, whose father is a doctor, whose husband a dustman. There are still a few families that are local to the area, families that can remember having to traipse the mile to Royal Hill and then the steep climb to the small Victorian school at the top. They never thought that this once desirable suburb of the city would become fashionable again. They hadn't taken much notice of the garlic and dried spaghetti, the herbs and spices that began to creep into the corner shop. It was after the builders descended on old Joe's pickle shop, when it became home to a smart young couple with a shiny red Mini and a white Lotus parked outside, that they began to notice the scaffolding, the restoration being done in the once elegant terraces. Then Woolworths moved from Regent Street, and almost overnight the empty building materialised into an antique market. The Chippy became an expensive fish restaurant, and the council built a posh new school. It's now 9 o'clock. The door opens. The women kiss the children goodbye and watch them run into the school. Then they leave the playground. Only Pattie and her 8-year-old son Dylan remain. Dylan is looking anxiously towards the school gate. "But why isn't he here?" he wails. "We always go in together. I don't want to go in without him." "You'll have to," insists his mother. Her Irish accent raises an octave and she snaps, "Maybe he's not coming. Maybe he's ill." "He was all right yesterday. We're rehearsing this morning. He has to be here. I can't be Tweedledum without him." Being Tweedledee. "Well, we can't stand out here waiting. You have to go into school." Suddenly he pulls his hand from Pattie's and waves. "He's here! He is! Ben!" he shouts. "Hurry!" Pattie looks towards the gate. Ben is running across the playground towards them. Linda is hurrying behind him, her wrap-around skirt parting with each stride she takes. "Sorry we're late," gasps Linda. She bends to kiss Ben's curly head, and her long dark hair falls like a curtain. Her figure is hardly more than a straight line as she waves the boys goodbye. Pattie is reminded of a Botticelli Madonna when Linda turns and gives her a tired smile. She wonders if Linda didn't have to get up at God knows what time to clean the chemist shop. If she put on a bit of makeup, would she be more beautiful or less? "I thought I was going to get away early," explains Linda as they walk towards the school gate. "Then Mr. Thomas wanted the glass shelves cleaned. Some of those medicine bottles have been there years, so I had to wash them. I don't know what I'd do without Mrs. Jones. I don't, honestly. She might be a bit of a fuddy-duddy, but she loves Ben, and he doesn't mind going down and sitting with her, though I think half the attraction is the jar of sweets she keeps." What are you doing now? Asked Pattie as they leave the playground. I've just got time to go home and do a bit of housework before going to Mr. Roberts. I'm surprised you still do that job. It sounds like you need a peg on your nose to go into the building, let alone clean it. Well, it's money. I just get on with it. When I take Ben, I put the pornographic magazine that's out of his reach. What about you? What were you up to? It's too hot to do anything much. I'll prepare a bit of lunch for Andrew. He's working from home this afternoon. That'll be nice. I don't know about nice. He'll be in his office marking papers. Is Brian home? No, he's working. When's he back? Sometime after 6. When they reach the top of Pattie's Road, they stop. I think I'll make an appointment with the hairdresser, says Pattie. This perm cost over £10. I want them to put it right. I never asked for an afro. Mind, the sun hasn't helped. It's completely dried out. I'm taking Ben to the park after school. It's so much cooler than being at home. I'll make a few sandwiches. Would Dylan like to come? That'll be grand. Dylan would love it. I'll drop him back to you about 5. Would that be okay? Pattie says goodbye, then hurries along the tree-lined street. She stops outside a large Victorian semi-detached house and glances up at Andrew's office window. He won't be home till gone 12, she thinks, which gives her plenty of time to prepare him a cold lunch and get out before he arrives. She opens the gate. Not giving a second look at the wilting standard roses, she walks along the path to the imposing front door. She lets herself in, slips off her sandals, then enjoying the cool marble tiles beneath her feet, she goes into the lounge. The sun is streaming through the sash windows. The lounge, throwing her bag onto the sofa, she suddenly wishes to be back in her parents' house, to stand in their garden and hear the crash of the Atlantic waves, feel the wind hit in her face. She would do anything to get away from this heat, would even listen to her mother's persistent complaint about Dylan not being christened, litany of horror that he'll go to purgatory and won't be buried in consecrated ground. She pulls the shutters together, then picks up her bag and leaves the darkened room. Barefoot, she climbs the deeply carpeted stairs. She stops on the landing, stands outside Andrew's bedroom door, then opens it. The room is north-facing and cool compared to the rest of the house. Nothing is out of place. Not a sock nor a discarded item of clothing. She gazes at the neatly made bed, trying to remember the last time they'd slept together. It would hardly be memorable anyway, she tells herself. She has an overwhelming urge to disrupt the room. She walks towards the bed. Her hands hover over the bedspread. She turns away, worried that the temptation to pull the covers off and throw them across the room is too strong to ignore. She goes to his desk, picks up a pile of papers and flips through them. Realising that her irritation is growing and she might do something she regrets, she puts them down and walks out of the room. She gazes at herself in the bathroom mirror. The sun has lightened her hair to a strawberry blonde. It has brought a dusting of golden freckles across her cheeks, which makes her look younger than her 30 years. She scowls. It's all she can see is a mop of frizz. She goes into her bedroom and picks up the phone. The perm is a disaster. It looks dreadful, she says. I need something done to it this morning. Yes, that's right, this morning. Yes, a cut and restyle. No, I can't make 12. All right, I'll be there at 11. She puts down the phone, goes to her bedroom and takes off her jeans and cheesecloth blouse. She opens her wardrobe and pulls out a cotton maxi dress and a pair of platform sandals. She slips the dress over her head and looks at herself in the full-length mirror. The material's brown and orange sunflower print suits her colouring. The low neckline and tight bodice emphasises her full breasts. She steps into the sandals. The extra height the 2-inch platforms give her makes her appear slimmer. She looks good. She smiles, thinking about the afternoon before her. The dress will be removed the minute she climbs into the back of the lorry. There'll be no rush now. She doesn't need to go to the school. Linda's not expecting him home until 6.